Let us practice painting tiny figures in watercolors. They are so important in watercolor landscapes and streetscapes. Most of us find painting these tiny figures very challenging and very troublesome. We may be aware of the overall proportions of figures, we may be aware of the perspective, but still our figures may look very stiff, or it may be lacking movements. So to get figures in convincing movements is really challenging, and it needs lots of practice. Okay, that is what precisely we are going to do in this tutorial. Here I have taken a cold pressed watercolor paper, and I am just suggesting the torso area. Torso means the upper body, just the chest and the shoulder, the chest, the belly area. And we are trying to just give some initial shape for that using a round brush with a simple, with a good point. Okay. So here the idea is simple. Just come out with some kind of an inverted U shapes, or kind of a bean bag or something like that. I mean, just kind of kind of slightly distorted oval shape, okay, for the upper body. And the idea here is that we will be making varying shapes of these ovals, or little bit of distorted shapes like this, as I am painting now. It is done at random. Okay, it is not precisely done with any idea. Okay, so what we are going to do is we'll make these kind of initial shapes, and then we will try to convert them into figures performing some actions. Okay, so this is, you can just assume that these are some sort of figures. They are all figures, but they are only painted in part. So we will try to fit in heads, and we will try to fit in the legs, etc., and so that ultimately they will get converted into a full figure in action. Now the first step was done initially, the random upper body, the random torso shapes, and now we are trying to kind of visualize some figures in those shapes, and we are trying to add more and more clarity by adding the heads, and then later we will be adding the legs also, legs and arms, etc. So here I'm, even though I'm doing it quickly, I'm kind of trying to visualize how does that pink color that we have, pink color shape, how does they kind of look like an upper body. So what could be the head position for that? We need to visualize. If you are practicing this for the first time, you may take a lot of time. I am doing it fast because I have been practicing this idea, and I kind of developed some amount of confidence in converting these shapes into figures. But if you are doing it initially for the first time, you may take a lot of time. So now we have upper body and heads fitted together. Now we are adding some legs with some movements. So as you can see, the legs are not equal in their length, in their angles, in their shapes, etc., because the leg movement will have a lot of perspectives. Okay, some legs may be moving forward, some legs may be moving backward, some legs may be bent. So there are a lot of perspective consideration when we add the legs. Okay, so we have to be very careful about the leg movements. The leg movements convey a lot in these tiny figures. When you want these tiny figures to be performing some actions, the leg movement makes a lot of importance. Okay. So this could be a lady, okay, because by the shape of her body, maybe you can understand that this also could be a lady. Okay. See, what is the difference between a male and female figure in these kind of tiny figures? You may be already aware of it. If you're not aware of it, please do let me know. Write them in the comments. I will try to come out with a brief, small video covering those differences between the male and female figure at this small scale. Okay. Now, I think they are all conveying some actions now already. I mean, we need little bit of more things to do. we need to fit in the arms and we need to fit in the faces, etc., to make it even more convincing. Okay, so maybe this guy is having a shoulder bag sort of thing. It is not very precise, very good, but see, at this level we only need some suggestions. Okay, we need some amount of impressions. We don't need precise movements. Okay, these are tiny figures. A little bit of movement is good enough for our purpose. And these guys, maybe they all look like they are sitting probably. So I am making the legs as if they are sitting cross-legged. Okay, they are all sitting on a on the ground, or maybe they are sitting on a piece of a platform or a bench or something. So let us make something so that their heights are somewhat matching with the rest of the figures, rest of the standing figures. Okay, let us make some. Let us convert this into some bench. Okay, some support. So they are all sitting on the ground, on the bench. Okay, that is the kind of idea. Okay, maybe some shadows for the bench also. Okay, so yeah, these are the kind of, maybe there is a support for the bench. These are some random ideas that I'm getting. So overall, it should be believable. That is how, I mean, how do we convert certain shapes into the figures? So in that process, we apply a lot of our imagination. We apply our understanding of the proportions. We apply our understanding of the perspective to come out with these finished figures. Okay, we do a lot of things, even though we make it quick. We do a lot of things. We do a lot of things. We convey, we apply the perspective, we apply the proportions, and we also kind of visualize the overall movement of the figure. Everything should be sort of convincing, even though they doesn't have to be necessarily precise, perfect, but it should be communicating, it should be conveying some movements. Okay, now this guy is facing towards us. He is holding a bag. So these thick orange pigment are representing the skin tone. These are not natural skin tone, but at this kind of impressionistic level, I think this is okay. Okay, so the first three people are probably coming towards us, walking towards us, and the next two female figures maybe are going away from us. That is the kind of idea that I am having. Okay, and if they are going away, we don't need to suggest the face. Okay, so if they are coming towards us, we need to suggest the face and the neck probably. And if they are facing away from us, we don't need too much of skin tones, just a tip of the elbow maybe. And this guy, I'm not very sure, maybe he's walking at an angle towards us maybe. Okay, and everywhere whatever suggestions that we are making, we should make it with some amount of precision. Okay, we should fit the face in the right place with the right size. Okay, and the arms and legs, there should be some level of accuracy, but it doesn't need to have precise details though. Some amount of calculation is required, and that we will come to know whenever we do more and more practice. We will understand where to put the arms, where to put the face, I mean, and what should be the size of the face. All those things we will understand with more and more practice. Sorry for some background noises. I don't have a soundproof room for the recording. You can see that all those people on the right side, they are sitting on the bench and they are facing other side. Okay. Now I am going a little bit more aggressive, some more random shapes using the side of the brush. And the objective is that we will have to treat these as the upper body, these shapes as upper body, and then convert them into figures. Okay. So if you want, you can pause the video at this point and try to visualize, try to see figures in these shapes. Okay. I'm continuing, and I'm trying to visualize some figures in these shapes. Okay, so this is little bit more challenging than the first one, because this is little bit more random kind of shapes. Okay, so Yeah, some figures, some putting some heads and adding some legs and arms later. Okay, so try to do along with it. See, when you do these kind of random brushworks to represent the torso or the upper body, you will get some different shapes. You may not precisely get the kind of shapes that I am getting, so the kind of figures that you are getting will be different. I mean, it should be different. That is the objective of this exercise. If you want to precisely copy the shapes that I am getting, then I think you are not meeting the objective. You need to randomly create those initial shapes, and then you need to think, you need to try to visualize some human figures in those shapes, and then you need to convert the shape that you are getting into convincing figures. This is an example of the process. Okay, I am not expecting you to precisely replicate this. Okay, I want you to follow this process and apply it on your own initial shapes. That is the idea. That is the initial objective. Okay, these are not very precise. These are some kind of suggestions, as I always say, and some of the kind of actions and some of the poses may not be very much convincing. If some shapes you are not able to convert some of these shapes into figures, ignore it. Skip to the next one. It may not be always possible to convert every shape to a figure. Try to convert whatever is possible and ignore the rest. That is what I do when I do the practice. Okay, I don't do this kind of practice every day, but I do different practices. Okay, I mean, sometimes I do this, sometimes I do some splashing and then converting the splashes into watercolor figures. And you can see such examples in my previous videos. See, some of these figures are tiny, some of these figures are larger, some of them are smaller, some of them are sitting, some of them are standing. That's all because the shapes are not very precise. They are not identical. They are random. Some shapes are big, some shapes are small. That is the reason some of the figures are big, some of them are far. But I am still trying to make them convincing, try to make them in a good kind of a perspective. Okay, I'm trying to make them believable. Okay, so overall I'm pretty happy with the way it is turning out, and I think our exercise is resulting into some convincing figures. Okay, some some kind of corrections here I'm making here, some of the correction of some shapes. Okay, I am pretty much happy with the overall result of this. Okay. So let me know what you think about this kind of exercise. I mean, you may not have done this kind of exercise, but by seeing this video, by understanding the process, what is your feeling? Do you think it is help? Do you think it will help you? Please let me know your views in the comment box below. I'll be happy to understand your views, and if there is any kind of modified tutorial I need to create based on your feedback, I'm more than happy to create such a tutorial. So for that, I need to understand your views, where you are finding difficulties, what are your specific challenges. Please do let me know so that I can plan specific videos to solve your problem areas. Okay, to emphasize on your problem areas. Okay, right, some body skin colors. Okay, skin tones, and then we can treat these figures as done. Okay, some touches of the faces. See, we need to decide whether these figures are facing that side or this side. I mean, facing you or facing away from us. We are seeing the back of the head or the front of the head. Okay, I don't want to add too much of details. It should be just with minimum suggestions, minimum details. Okay, that is the kind of objective. So I'm using a small, synthetic brush with a good point. So to give this kind of suggestions, we need some good point for the brush. Okay, so I think we are mostly done. Okay, I'm just checking if anything final is required. Okay. So what do you think? Do you think these figures are convincing? At least if half of them are convincing, I'll be happy. Okay, if you think more than half of these are convincing to you, please do let me know. That will give me a lot of encouragement. And please let me know how you felt it when you did the following along. Okay, so I'll be truly waiting for your feedback. How do you feel? How did you feel when you practiced it? Okay. Finally, these shadows are making them a little bit more convincing and interesting, and I think we can stop at this point. So if you think this video was informative and it was helping you, please do let me know. Please try to give your questions and feedback in the comment box below. And finally, before leaving, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe and press the bell notification. And if you think this can help your artist friends, please share this video to them, to your artist friends, to your artist groups, so that more and more people can take benefit out of this, and I will also get more reach to this video. So thank you once again, and we'll soon see you with another tutorial.